It's not about knowledge, it's about applying knowledge correctly. Ideas are easy, but implementation is hard. A very good afternoon to our esteemed speakers, members of the
Now I can.
executive board of the Chamber of Startups, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome everyone to this webinar, Threats and Factoring, Solution for the Delayed Payments. As we know that micro, small and medium enterprises and small businesses are the backbone of the Indian economy, but they face recurring challenges in receiving payments for the goods or services they supply. In other words, they struggle to convert trade receivables into liquid funds. It is a fact that in any crisis, the most vulnerable and affected are the ones who are at the bottom of the pyramid, and threats and factoring deals with such individuals and entities. The most vulnerable are the MSME owners and their employees who are likely to face extreme financial crisis. So for the welfare of the MSMEs and those startups, we have arranged this webinar, and we have with Mr. Ketan ji and Mr. Vikas Roy ji from from RIXL and IFCI Factors Limited. So I request Mr. Sameer Rastogi ji to kindly welcome this thing. Before welcoming, we would like to know that Threats and Factoring Solution for Delayed Payments webinar is organized by Chamber of Startups in collaboration with RIXL and IFCI Factors Limited, and in association with SERA, iCreator, India Juris, SME World, My Place Cowork, SARC Ventures, and SME Venture. So, Chamber of Startups, Industries and Entrepreneurs India Council is a non-profit organization duly incorporated under Section 8 of the Companies Act 2013. We are a startups, MSMEs, and entrepreneurs chamber and closely associated with startups, industries, and MSMEs. We are the startups, MSMEs, and entrepreneurs chamber and closely associated with startups, industries, MSMEs, and entrepreneurs, and carrying their voice to the authorities, hand-holding their enterprises to meet challenges and assist them to access credit and government support to meet their ambitious business goals. Chamber provides hand-holding support to its members in various fields like assistance in MSME registration, basic legal advice, preparation of project reports, getting loans from banks and financial institutions. We make representation on behalf of our members to the government concerned departments. It is our pleasure to announce that various suggestions given by the chamber to the government is being implemented. The advisory board of the chamber constitutes Dr. Sunil Maggu. He is a chartered accountant by profession and advocate too. Mr. Sameer Rastogi is the managing partner of India Juris. Dr. H.P. Kumar is the former CMD of NSIC Limited. Dr. Jyotirmay Jain is closely associated with SOCHM in various capacities. And me, Sandeep Bist. Mr. Rajan Kumar is the chief editor-in-chief of SME World, India's renowned magazine. CA Rajesh Parekh is having more than 25 years of experience. Mr. Satyan Sachdeva is the founder and secretary general of SERA. Mr. Sunil Gupta is the director of iCreator Financial Services, and Mr. Ashutosh Sharma is again the director in iCreator Financial Services. So the RIXL is the Receivable Exchange of India Limited. India's first trade platform mandated by RBI is a joint venture of Small Industries Development Bank of India and National Stock Exchange, along with State Bank of India, ICICI Bank, and Yes Bank being other shareholders. The IFCI Factors is formerly known as Foremost Factors Limited, is a subsidiary of IFCI Limited, which is a leading financial institution of India. IFCI Factors is engaged in factoring of the invoices. Now we have SERA with us. The Construction Equipment Rental Association is a non-profit organization representing the equipment rental industry across India. The iCreator Financial Solutions Private Limited is a leasing financial consultancy firm in India. It has a team of professionals of preparing project report, preparation of CMA data, arranging various state facilities from banks, restructuring of loans, and help MSMEs in getting loans under various schemes of the government and banks. India Juris is the leading full-service international law firm serving India as well as global clients from various continents. The firm is having offices in Delhi, Gurgaon, Mumbai, Africa, America, Australia, Middle East, UK, and Europe. Legal 500 UK continues to recommend India Juris for corporate amalgamation and merger for the year 2016. Now we have SME World with us. SME World is India's most authentic information and knowledge magazine dedicated to the SME sectors. My Place Cowork is a co-working space and startup community. It provides beautiful world-class co-working space for business, startups, freelancers, working professionals, etc. in tier 2 cities of the India. Now we have SARC Ventures with us. Is an Indian SARC Venture is an Indian angel investors providing seed or early stage investment to women-driven and oriented startups. SME Venture is a dedicated portal for the SMEs. Aim of SME Venture is to empower SME entrepreneurs with information and they can use for smoothing the hurdles in their business processes. Now I request Mr. Sameer Rastogi to kindly give brief overview of the SMEs and welcome our esteemed speakers. Please.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandeep. Friends, it's pleasure for us to have such an esteemed panel with us today who would really enlighten you about how to manage the financials आप अपना कैसे अपने फाइनेंशियल्स, अपने कैश फ्लो को मैनेज कर सकते हैं। एसएमईज दोस्तों, आप, आई विल कीप माय लैंग्वेज इन हिंदी बिकॉज हमारे काफी सारे यहाँ पे एमएसएमई हैं, सो आई थिंक हिंदी में उनको थोड़ा आसान होगा. सो इट विल बी इट्स आवर मदर टंग, सो आई विल ट्राई टू यूज एज मच एज पॉसिबल हिंदी.
डेफिनेटली.
तो एमएसएमई ये सबको पता है, सरकार भी काफी टाइम से कहती आ रही है, हम सब सुनते हैं कि एसएमई भारत के ग्रोथ इंजन है. सबसे ज्यादा एम्प्लॉयमेंट एमएसएमई सेक्टर इस भारत में देता है. भारत सरकार ने अभी आपने सुना होगा कुछ दिन पहले ही पैकेज अनाउंस किया है जिसमें एमएसएमई के लिए बहुत सारी चीजें सुनाई गई है. उसमें 3 लाख करोड़ का पैकेज है. उसमें फंड्स ऑफ फंड से इक्विटी इन्फ्यूजन की बात कही गई है. उसमें सबऑर्डिनेट डेट टू स्ट्रेस्ड एमएसएमई की बात की गई है. तो इतनी सारी चीजें, स्कीम सरकार लेके तो आ रही है, बट ये एसएमईज को ग्रो करने के लिए, उनको डिफिकल्टीज से निकालने के लिए, उनको फाइनेंस प्रोवाइड करने. लेकिन डे टू डे फंक्शनिंग में जब हम और आप एमएसएमई अपना काम कर रहे हैं, अपना बिजनेस कर रहे हैं, हमारा पेमेंट डिले हो जाता है. एक एमएसएमई की सर आजकल सबसे बड़ी एक जो दुविधा है वो है कि उनका पेमेंट डिले हो जाता है, जिससे उनकी साइकिल रुक जाती है और काफी उन्हें दिक्कत आ जाती है. तो हमारे इंडियन सिस्टम में 2 चीजें हैं, एक है ट्रेड्स और एक है फैक्टरिंग. चीजें तो काफी टाइम से एग्जिस्ट कर रही हैं, लेकिन शायद हमारे एमएसएमई जो भाई हैं, जो एंटरप्रेन्योर हैं, एमएसएमईज हैं, उन्हें इस चीज का पूरा ज्ञान नहीं है. स्टिल देयर आर लॉट ऑफ एमएसएमईज जिन्हें अभी ये नहीं पता कि ट्रेड्स क्या है, फैक्टरिंग क्या है, ट्रेड्स कैसे काम करता है, फैक्टरिंग कैसे काम कर सकता है, और एमएसएमई इनको कैसे यूज करे अपने फाइनेंस को, अपने कैश फ्लो को मैनेज करने के लिए. तो दोस्तों, आज आपको ये जो वेबिनार है, टॉप ऑफ द नॉलेज सोर्स, हमारे पास उनसे आपको आज एनलाइटन होगा. यू विल कम टू नो अबाउट देम. हमारे बीच आप 2 बहुत ही एस्टीम्ड पैनलिस्ट हैं. वन इज मिस्टर केतन गायकवाड़. ही इज मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर एंड सीईओ रिसीवेबल एक्सचेंज ऑफ इंडिया लिमिटेड. And second panelist with us today is Mr. The profile of Mr. Ketan Gaikwad is on your screen. So सब आपको सब सारा जानते ही हैं पहले से. So I will आपके और एमएसएमई के बीच में ज्यादा टाइम ना लेके मैं थोड़ा सा क्विक करूंगा. दूसरे हमारे एस्टीम्ड पैनलिस्ट हैं मिस्टर विकास रॉय. ही इज मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर आईएफसीआई फैक्टर्स लिमिटेड. वेलकम मिस्टर विकास रॉय. आपसे काफी इंटरेक्शन पहले भी डिफरेंट हो चुकी है, हम लोग मिलते रहते हैं, लेकिन आज इस एमएसएमई के प्लेटफॉर्म पर वी आर लुकिंग एट फ्रॉम बोथ द पैनलिस्ट टू हियर अबाउट कि कैसे ट्रेड्स और फैक्टरिंग एमएसएमई के लिए लाभदायक है और कैसे उसको यूज करें और कैसे अपने बिजनेस को चलाएं. तो विद दिस वर्ड्स आई वुड लाइक टू वेलकम मिस्टर केतन गायकवाड़ टू इंटरैक्ट विद our MSME, and please enlighten the MSME about trades, your organization, and how they can take benefit of this. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so I'll share my screen. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Rastogi, for the wonderful introduction, and to the Startup India Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for organizing this wonderful seminar. It's a good idea that we should reach to reach the maximum of the MSMEs and the startup companies which we are trying to reach during this unprecedented crisis. Very important that we're using this lockdown period to reach out to many corporates, many SMEs, especially, and to apprise them of how trades can be beneficial during this kind of unprecedented crisis which has hit. It has been a once in a lifetime opportunity, or rather I would say it's been a crisis which we would never face again in our life, or I pray that we will never face. But yes, we are using this particular crisis as and the lockdown period as to reach out to many people through many associations and many webinars also. So thank you. I'll start. So basically, when we talk about MSMEs, the MSME minister, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, also has been very vocal about MSMEs. And he's very clearly said that MSMEs account for, we have around 6.5 crores of MSMEs in India. They provide 11 crore jobs to Indians, and 29% of the GDP comes from MSMEs of India. And the target is that this 11 crore jobs should be, we should be able to make it to around 15 crores. So he wants to add another 5 crores over there, 16 crores. And his clear target is that he wants to make the contribution from MSMEs to from 29% to 50%. And you would be knowing that even 45% of the exports come from MSMEs, which is the most important factor. So if MSMEs are so important, then why are we facing a crisis over here at MSMEs? So there was a study which was carried out by ET magazine somewhere in November. These are the figures prior to November, prior to the crisis which has hit us now. So when they found that, the MSMEs, although there is a lot of entrepreneurship over there, but these MSMEs end up getting choked by that dues. The dues which they are supposed to receive, or the receivables that they're supposed to receive, they never receive it on time. And that leads to untimely death of many of the corporates, many of the MSMEs. And that is actually a very startling study, in the sense that during Diwali time, if you recollect, even the finance minister had gone down saying, very clearly she had come out with the figure that around 85,000 crores of 88,000 crores of dues are pending for the MSMEs. This is a figure of November. And 40,000 crores was owed by large corporations and 48,000 crores was owed by PSUs. So when there was a study conducted by ET magazine, around 119 MSMEs were studied. And when they found that there was startling 70% of the customers, 70% of their MSMEs who supply to corporates, around private sector corporates, around 48% and 10% government corporates, they always receive the payment after 45 days or after 60 days. They always end up receiving the payment after 60 days, or more than 60 days it takes. And when they found that, and when they did the study, that more than half of 27% very clearly stated that more than half of their receivables are always received after 90 days. And more than 1/3 have already clearly told that they always payment come after 90 days. So this is the actual issue, that there is an issue with the corporates and the PSUs and the large corporates who have a patriarchal attitude, in the sense the feeling is that if you are supplying to a large corporate like me, I am doing a big favor to you and not you the other way around. But yes, if you delay the goods even by 1 day, I will penalize you. But I can decide on when to make the payment if I'm the large corporate buying it from you. And that is exactly the problem with the entire system or MSME. They always end up letting, in fact, they end up writing off the dues, writing off the receivables. In fact, the study showed that at least 17% quoted that they write off 1/5 of the receivables just like that, because they don't want to do a follow-up. And that is what is happening. So these MNC, these large corporates and PSU, they always end up using these MSMEs like a bank. They decide when to take the goods out, but they decide when to make the payment. So that's exactly the scenario with all. And when the study was done, the troublesome corporates were 42% were catering to private sector, 24% with large corporates. So so the government is completely apprised of the situation. So these are the steps which the government has taken. In 2006, MSME Act was enacted, and it was made mandatory that the MSMEs have to be made payment within 45 days. In 2012, the government came out with a very clear constitutional amendment saying that all the firms will have to disclose on how much MSME payments are due in the balance sheet. In 2015, Samadhan portal was set up as a redressal mechanism where the MSMEs can go and complain about the delays which are happening on the if they are not receiving the payment, or there are some disputes of them receiving the payment. And in 2015, TREDS it came into being, in the sense it came as a policy that the RBI released policy guidelines on how the TREDS should be functioning. In 2019, the RBI panel again suggested setting up a utility system wherein you could name and shame the buyers who are not exactly making the payment to the MSME corporates. So this is the evolution of TReDS. In 2008, there was a suggestion in the Financial Sector Reforms Committee, and the RBI issued the guidelines somewhere in December 2014-15, and RXL came into being in 2016. In 2015 December, RBI got an the RXL gave an approval to RBI gave an approval to SEBI and NSE, and the guidelines to start setting up a TReDS platform. And NSE and SEBI jointly formed a company called as the Receivables Exchange India Limited. And 2016 is when we got the final approval, and we executed the first transaction in 2017. So this is what is all about RXL. Receivables Exchange India Limited is a joint venture between SIDBI, the largest small industrial development bank in India, the financial institution which caters to the small and medium corporates. NSE is the leader in its own way, in the sense it's the largest stock exchange, which heralded a revolution in India, especially in terms of electronic trading. State Bank of India, ICICI Bank, and Yes Bank are the other shareholders which join into these are the shareholders of. So basically, RXL is a stable platform with the large financial groups standing behind it. So this is the vision that over a period of the next 2 years, we want to enroll around 1 lakh MSME customers on a platform, and we want to build transparency in the system. So what is exactly TReDS? So TReDS is basically an electronic and a digital system wherein we get all the players together. So let's keep it in mind that TReDS is basically a RBI mandated platform which so it caters only to the MSME segment. So basically the sellers need to be MSME sellers, and they they are selling to the large corporates. And there is a platform over there which is a TReDS platform, and we have the financiers over there. So we have multiple financiers on our platform. So basically, on this platform, we have a relationship which is one to many or many to one. So you might have one buyer procuring from many suppliers. At the same time, you can have many suppliers selling to one buyer, or one seller supplying to many buyers. So that's what it is. So this TReDS platform is basically connects the three parties. There are three parties, very important parties on the platform, which is a buyer, seller, and the financier. So it's the buyer who buys the procurement, who does the procurement from the seller. The seller is basically and primarily it's only the MSME segment, and the financier is the financier. These are scheduled commercial banks. There are around 34 enrolled on RXL platform. So there we have around 35 financiers which are enrolled on RXL's platform, Receivables Exchange India Limited platform. So we also have NBFC factors, which are factoring companies which can enroll on a platform. At the same time, in this particular budget, the government has given an approval for even the NBFCs also to come and enroll on the platform. For that, the Factoring Act is getting amended. So just to briefly tell you that, the TReDS is basically a seamless platform or a digital platform which ensures seamless transactions between sellers and buyers and the financier. So what happens is that the seller, the buyer, and the financier have to enroll on the platform. They have to register on the platform, and they have to execute agreements. So under the agreement, the seller, it very clearly says the seller will have no right over the goods once he receives the immediate compensation for making a compensation for the goods, for the invoices which have been purchased under the agreement. The buyer gives the rights to the financier to proceed against the buyer in case of any default or anything. So basically, a notice of assignment also goes in that particular platform, which gives the rights to the financier to proceed against the buyer, and very clearly says that the seller has sold these receivables to the financier. So since it is a one-to-many and many-to-one link, there are many specialities on the platform that we ensure that all the the intricacies of the trade are captured onto the platform. So it involves even the cap rate, at what rate the goods or the transaction can be accepted. Who's the default cost buyer? Is it a buyer, bearer? Who's the buyer? Who's the seller? Whether the seller is going to bear the cost or the buyer is going to bear the cost. The cost split also is arranged in the sense there might be certain instances where some part of the cost is borne by the seller, some part of the cost is borne by the buyer. So all these things actually get frozen in the buyer-seller link. So this is how it works. This particular platform, this is how it works. So it's a depiction which I'm giving. So you have receivables exchange India Limited as a three exchange, as the exchange, as a trades exchange, and there are three parties over there in this particular transaction. We have the MSME vendor, we have the buyer, and the financier. So these are the three parties. So, and for them to come on the platform, there should be some transaction which is happening between two. It can be either in terms of goods or services. So there is a goods and services agreement between the buyer and the seller, and then once the goods are supplied, then the invoices are getting uploaded on the platform. The way it is, I'm just depicting how the transaction works very smoothly. So once the invoices are uploaded, it is very necessary that the buyer has to accept this invoices. So the buyer can, the supplier, if the supplier uploads the invoices, it has to be accepted by the buyer. And if the buyer accepts uploads the invoices, it has to be accepted by the seller. So there should be a counterparty acceptance or the approval from both the parties. Once it is accepted by the buyer, because keep in mind that, this particular platform is for non-recourse, without collateral discounting for the MSME vendor. So the moment the MSME vendor supplies the good to the buyer, he can, and if the invoices are accepted on the platform, then the MSME vendor receives the money, without any collateral and without any recourse. So that means tomorrow, the financier or the bank cannot go back to the vendor and say that, look, I have not received the payment from the buyer, so you have to make the payment. So the moment the acceptance is done by the buyer, the bids, the particular invoice becomes a factoring unit and becomes available for the financier to go and start bidding for it. So this financier, looking at the buyer's risk on the other side, they start bidding for it. So like an exchange, there are bids which are put for that particular invoice. So looking if the buyer is very stronger, so then the rates of interest can still go down. So in the sense today, to tell you that till yesterday we were saying that 6.1% was the rate which we have got on our platform, against a very top large corporate, PSU corporate, and today we have seen the rate moving down to 5.95 or even 5.9. I think it's 5.95 today. So that is what is happening on the platform, that there are competitive bids from the financier, especially when the buyer on the other side is very strong. Then their bids are actually, there is a lot of competition because the financier wants that particular asset on the platform. So before even at the time of registration, we also take the NACH mandate. So there are debit mandates which are taken from the buyer. So what happens is the buyer does not make the payment. It pulls the transaction. I'll come to that. So the moment the bid is happening, the financier starts bidding for it, they start putting bid for the transaction. So depending on the attractive bid, L1, L2, L3, the bid acceptance happens. Depending on who the counterparty is, who's bearing the cost. So assuming that the MSME vendor is going to bear the cost as per the buyer-seller link, then it needs to be accepted by the MSME vendor. If the buyer is bearing the cost, then the buyer has to accept the particular link. He has to accept the bid acceptance. The moment the acceptance has happened by the buyer, then the obligation is created between the exchange and the financier and the buyer. So there's an obligation created between the financier and the buyer. So that means now the obligation is created. Now it becomes the buyer's obligation to make the payment on the due date. So once the obligation is created, if the bid is accepted before 4 o'clock today or at any particular day, the next day the payment happens to the vendor. So that's how it is smooth. So assuming that today the invoices are loaded, assuming by 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock the invoices are loaded, and if it gets accepted by the buyer by 4 o'clock or before 4 o'clock, the financier can actually go and bid for it before 4 o'clock. And if it is accepted also by the buyer or the vendor before 4 o'clock, then he can receive the payment the next day itself. It gets credited to his account seamlessly without any manual intervention. On the due date, the payment is received from the buyer. So that means on the due date, there is a settlement file which goes through NPCIL. We have a separate settlement mechanism through which we pull the money from the buyer's account. There are two places, there are two interesting transactions which happen on the platform. One is factoring and one is reverse factoring. So one is factoring is basically where the seller comes and uploads the invoices on the platform. And the same thing, whatever I've just said about it. So seller uploads the invoice, the buyer accepts it, the financier bids for the invoice. The seller, the moment the seller has accepted it because he is going to pay the interest, then the financier will disburse the funds. Within 48 hours, the seller receives the funds. And on the due date, the financiers receive the outstanding amount from the buyer. On the reverse factoring, there is a mechanism wherein the buyer can also upload the invoices. He will ensure that the payment happens to the seller immediately. So the moment the buyer uploads the invoices, the financier will bid for the invoices and the buyer will accept it because he's going to bear the rate of interest, the cost for that particular transaction. The financier will disburse the funds to the seller and the seller will receive the funds within 48 hours. So this is how it happens on the particular transaction level when the invoices are uploaded by the buyer. And on the due date, the financier receives them. So what are the benefits? It's an interesting screen for the MSMEs and the startups over here. So the benefits are that, it's a completely, I think my voice is getting echoed. Can I request people to keep it on mute? Yeah, thank you. So the benefits for the MSME sellers are immense, that the seller receives the funds within 48 hours. The moment they get the invoices are uploaded and the invoices are accepted and the bids are accepted. The best advantage is that the financiers, there are multiple, they have access to the multiple financiers. So you are not restricted only to one or two financiers, but you have access to at least the whole lot of financiers who are willing to take a risk on the buyer, depending on which buyer and which top grade buyer you are supplying the goods to. The best thing about the platform is this particular platform is this particular financing is without recourse to the sellers. So there is no recourse absolutely to the sellers once the financing has happened, and this is without any collateral. So and again, not to stress much on that importance, but lower cost of funds is the most important thing. So that's a very important thing, because in a normal scenario, an MSME would receive a highly collateralized, full secured, the limits where he has, put in a pledge on his house and everything. Here you have a scenario where you can just upload the invoices, and if the corporate on the other side is a top corporate and he accepts those invoices, you can getting the funds. So we have seen the rate of interest. I have told you now today that the rate of interest has gone to 5.95 as of today. So that's how the rates of interest are moving. So just imagine a scenario where the MSME seller is taking a fully collateralized loan at 12% or 13%. Against that, you're getting funds at around, if not 6% or 7%, but at least 8 or 9%. So there is a clear-cut rate of interest saving of at least 3 to 4% when you come on the platform, and that's a huge one, because it counts. Because what I'm trying to tell you from the practical experience is that people who have transacted on the platform have saved huge load of interest cost on the platform. We have a letter which has been given by the BHL Association in Trichy, wherein they did transactions worth around 300 crores and they saved some 6 crores just on the interest payment, and they've been transacting only for the last 6 months. As far as buyer is concerned, they don't have to do any follow-ups. Plus, they have seen over a period of time that when the seller gets the interesting terms on and then they end up negotiating on the procurement terms with the buyer, with the seller. And this particular platform actually integrates with the buyer. So, and it actually, we have seen that, the relationships between the buyer and the seller gets strengthened because of this particular platform. Because in this today's crisis, when the whole world is in a scenario where, you don't know what is going to happen, where the large corporates, which are also cash rich, they have come and given an announcement that they might not be able to pay the suppliers and they will be in the wait and watch mode. What we are trying to tell the corporates as well as the government is that here is a platform where the MSME vendors, MSME suppliers can get payment immediately, and the corporates can go for an extended payment terms, and you can go for at least 180 days, minimum 180 days, so where you can pay the interest, but at least you are at least conserving your cash. So you have cash as one side, which you're conserving, which is your own cash, but at the same time, you can also ensure that the suppliers are made, the payments are made, and the supplier ecosystem is alive. So this is the best system which can happen during this time of crisis. Finances basically get the advantage of priority sector lending. So any transaction which happen on the platform, there's the priority sector lending over there. And we always talk about the low risk default, because the platform default is very minimal. Out of the 20,000 transactions which have happened, we have not seen a default of 70 to 80 or more than 70 to 80 crores on the platform. and then the financiers get access to the best the buyers on the platform. What we have seen is that there are a lot of initiatives have been taken by the government. In fact, in this particular crisis, we have seen a lot of queries coming from the MSME ministry, from the DFS, from the Prime Minister's office also, to understand what is happening on the TREDS platform, how many people are registered, how many PSUs are registered, and how many MSMEs are registered. This is to ensure that whether they can ask the PSUs to start routing the transactions through the platform. So when the TREDS platform went live in 2017, they made it mandatory that all the government and the PSUs should get registered on the platform. And then, as what I told you, the priority sector lending treatment should be given for the transactions which are happening on the platform. In 2018, November, the government made it mandatory that the corporates above 500 crores turnover should come and join on the platform. So it's very much mandatory for the corporates to come on the platform. The government also seeks various information, and what I told you is that NBFCs have been allowed to come on the platform and start transacting. So we are just waiting for the RBI circular. Otherwise, there are a lot many NBFCs who are keen on coming on the platform. We have also integrated with GEMS platform, and the GEMS platform, the moment the supplies have happened, on the 10th day, the invoices will get pushed to the TREDS platform and the discounting will happen. And my last slide, all the MSMEs, what we are trying to tell the government is that you can make it mandatory that all the MSME payments are routed through the TREDS platform. So at least the government can get a clear-cut understanding of how many payments are happening and how many MSME payments are getting delayed. Very clearly that the corporates are registering, the corporate PSUs are getting registered, but the transactions are taking a bit of more time to start on the platform, because this platform ensures that there is a lot of transparency in the payment, the way the payment is made. Because the moment the supplier has supplied the goods to the buyer, he just has to upload the invoices. So he does not have to run after the government departments or the PSU departments or the corporates for his payment, because follow-up takes a lot of time. And normally the payments, what we have seen is, as per the survey, at least 30 to 40% of the time of the entrepreneurs and the MSME owners goes in following up for the unpaid invoices. So we have been telling that they should encourage the banks, especially in this time of crisis, that they should be coming on the platform and start working on it. So we have seen that during the start of the crisis, the banks were not so much participating, but now we have seen that the participation has gone a whole lot better, and the banks are actually going out of the way to do transactions on the TREDS platform. So, and it is our motto and objective, as what I have told very clearly, that we are making it, we are ensuring that we reach out to the maximum of the MSMEs and maximum of the corporates, to educate them on the advantages of the coming of the platform. And last slide from my side is that we have completely digitized the way our online registration, the registration happened, because earlier, since there were agreements involved and there is a lot of KYC which needs to be done, it needs to take a little bit of more time. But right now, we have gone to a stage where digital onboarding and the registration process is completely seamlessly digital. And just to tell you that due to the crisis, what we have done now is that we have made the registration free for the MSMEs to come and register the platform. But very clearly that the MSMEs can come and register, but at the same time their corporates should be registered with us. So that's very primarily important, that the corporates are registered, because what we have seen is that since it is very free, the MSMEs are coming and registering, but at the same time the corporates are not registered on the platform. Or the other way around is, you can register yourself and you can give us the links to your corporates, and we can go and talk with the corporates to get registered on the platform. But just keep it in mind that this is a platform, and the buyer, the financiers are taking the risk completely based on the risk of the buyer. So very important that the financier that is kept in the mind by the MSMEs while registering on the platform, because any buyer getting registered will not guarantee the transactions happening on this platform. So that needs to be very clear, because completely this platform is completely without recourse and without any collateral to MSMEs. But at the same time, they should understand that the risk is completely taken on the buyers. So it is the buyers who should be credit worthy, to whom the financing, on whose risk the financing can happen. So this is all from my side, and I think I would like to pass on the mic to Mr. Rastogi for taking it further with Mr. Roy. We'll be keen to hear him.
It was excellent and very wonderful insight about the threads. Now we are very much informed about how the threads work, how the MSME can take benefit of this. क्वेश्चन Q&A सेशन सर हम लोग लास्ट में करेंगे, लेकिन उससे पहले एक छोटे से 2 क्वेश्चन हैं रिगार्डिंग दिस कि क्या इसमें कोई क्राइटेरिया या एलिजिबिलिटी है एमएसएमई के लिए लिस्ट कराने के लिए?
Yeah, so MSME will have to. I'll just share my screen. I just removed my screen. On the screen, it is there. Yeah. If you see that very clearly, there is a criteria that that they need to give us the Udyog Aadhar certificate and ensure that they have the MSME. Because they need to be MSMEs as per the definition of MSME.
मतलब उसके अलावा कोई टर्नओवर या उस चीज का कोई क्राइटेरिया नहीं, इस टाइप का फाइनेंशियल कोई क्राइटेरिया नहीं.
Once the guidelines have been changed, as of now, only the directives have come that the turnover criteria is there, but that can be seen from the balance sheet. What is important is that we require the Udyog Aadhar certificate and the MSME declaration, that especially from the chartered accountant, very clearly, which will tell us that the investment in plant and machinery is less than whatever it is, or is up to that level of what has been there as for to define the MSME, which define the MSME guidelines.
अभी आपने सर जैसे कहा कि MSME के लिए रजिस्ट्रेशन फ्री कर दिया है, तो अदरवाइज क्या फीस है? अदरवाइज MSME के लिए कोई चार्ज है रजिस्टर करने के लिए?
Yeah, Sameer ji, I can take up the question.
अच्छा, हाँ, so हम यही पूछे, मैंने इसमें जैसे सर ने बताया फी वाले पार्ट में कि अभी जैसे सर ने बताया कि फी अभी एग्जम्प्ट कर रखी है, माफ कर रखी है, तो क्या अदरवाइज क्या फीस है MSME को रजिस्टर करने के लिए?
See, otherwise we are charging 2,500 one-time registration, annual fees of 2,500. But because of this COVID situation, we have made it free up till June 30th.
Okay. So, sir, we will take further कि बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन आ रहे हैं, लोग MSME पूछ रहे हैं, so we will take in the Q&A session. So, आपने देखा, we have learned about threads from the deliberation of Mr. Gaikwad. 2 चीजें दोस्तों ध्यान रखना बहुत जरूरी है, कुछ चीजें इस चीज के लिए. पहली बात तो आपका डॉक्यूमेंटेशन प्रॉपर होना चाहिए. जैसे हमने बताया, आपके जो इनवॉइस उनके पास गए होने चाहिए, कॉर्पोरेट के पास जिसको आप सप्लाई कर रहे हो. आपको अपना इनवॉइस अपलोड करना है RXL ट्रेड के सिस्टम पर, और उसके बाद कॉर्पोरेट जो है वो उसे एक्सेप्ट करेगा, और उसके बाद फाइनेंसर जो उसमें पहले से लिस्ट हैं वो आपके उसके लिए बिड करेंगे, जिससे आपका जो फाइनेंसिंग है वो बड़ी कॉम्पिटिटिव हो जाए. तो बहुत ही बढ़िया एक सिस्टम है, जिसे मेरे ख्याल से हर MSME को ट्राई करना चाहिए, इस पे रजिस्टर करना चाहिए. एंड वी विल हैव क्वेश्चन एंड आंसर इन द एंड ऑफ द सेशन. बट नाउ आई विल इनवाइट आवर अनदर पैनलिस्ट श्री विकास रॉय टू गिव एन आइडिया एंड इंसाइट ऑन द factoring side. Welcome to Mr. Vikas.
Good evening, everybody. I'm thankful to Chamber of Commerce.
Good evening, sir.
Startups for giving this opportunity to talk about our company. I am especially thankful to Mr. Sunil Gupta and Sandeep Bist, who took special initiative to conduct this webinar.
Thank you, sir.
I welcome all the participants joining here. IFCI Factors actually originally was incorporated as a what is that name? That Foremost Factors Limited. But in 2008, it was taken over by IFCI, and since then it is running under the brand of IFCI. In fact, after takeover by IFCI, it grew manyfold. It hardly had a 5 crore of factoring business at the time of takeover, and it went up to 1,200 crore. Today, though, as its book size is little low compared to peak, but still we are on a decent level. You know, the factoring industry is not doing that great as of today because of you can say a lot of delinquencies is there in the system, economic stress is there. but still we have introduced various systems and processes so that we can minimize our NPA level and all. As far as our products are concerned, we have a lot of products. We can customize also. We do domestic sales bill factoring, then advance against future receivable. Then we give some corporate loan also, some customized products also. So basically, it is a more of a kind of you can say recourse factoring. Unlike a trades, it is a non-recourse factoring. It is a recourse factoring where we take care both the borrower as well as the debtor into our this thing fold, so that money comes in time from the debtor, and if the debtor pays, then we can have recourse on the borrower as well. Here our beauty is that we give the service very quickly, and any particular debtor on whom a particular supplier, especially MSME supplier, who raises invoice, the entire these receivables are escrowed through our banker, and we take our commission, and balance is passed on to the borrower back. So this is more or less the structure of our business, and we are trying to introduce a new product also. It's in the same line, not a new product exactly. I'd say it's kind of not to say it's a very quick giving a very quick service. In any case, we are giving very good service to our clients, and there are clients who are staying with us for years, 10 years, 15 years also. There are some clients who are staying with us. The new product will be, there will be not of much due diligence. We'll move towards almost kind of non-recourse factoring. That means we'll simply take some kind of a data will be very, very strong, maybe BBB plus and above rated companies, preferably rated companies, and very small enterprises, very SMEs basically, having billing of 25 lakh or something like that. We will not go for much of due diligence on those. Maybe in 10 days or maybe in 5 days, we'll do the disbursement to them so that they get the money immediately. And once this our mechanism, this we have a typical systems and processes through which we do this. Once that is established, this relationship will continue for as long as the company is with us. So with this, a few things about our company, I'd like to, because I have a meeting at 4 o'clock with Factors Association India. I'm a board member there. So my colleague, SVP, Mr. Amit Kaul, will take it forward. So our details of our products like AFR, GSBF, corporate loan, any other customized product, everything will be explained by him in detail. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. And thanks to accept our request to share your views about the factoring and about the IFSC factor also, sir. So thanks a lot, sir.
And I may be joining the question and answer session also, maybe after this board meeting is over. Okay.
Sure, sir.
Mr. Amit Kaul will take it forward.
Thank you. Sure.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Especially, I would like to thank Chamber of Startups, Mr. Gupta and Mr. Bisht. And good afternoon, Mr. Gaikwad. Thank you very much for your lovely presentation. Thanks to my MD for giving the lovely introduction to our company profile and the products that we have. I have a couple of presentations with me, which I would like to take you through. And I would like you to, I'm trying to share the screen now. Is it shared, Mr. Gupta?
Yes, that's visible, sir.
So I hope the presentation is visible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So let's start. Basically, as Mr. Roy told, we are one of the pioneers in factoring in the country, IFCI Factors, and we started off as a company which was basically a joint venture of Bank of America and Mohan Exports way back in 1996, which was called Foremost Factors. In fact, IFCI Foremost Factors was the first company in India to start export factoring and become a member of the FCI, Factors Chain International. FCI is the largest conglomerate of export factoring companies headquartered at Amsterdam. It's catering to almost 75 to 80% of the open account turnover globally in billions and billions of euros. So that we'll come to later. But just to give you a pedigree, so we are a joint venture of Bankcam, and thereafter we were taken over by IFCI in 2008, and thereafter we have grown very rapidly till 2000, about 13, 14, and thereafter, of course, we had the problems with the entire factoring industry, which Mr. Roy just explained you. Now we have a portfolio about 600, 650 crores still on board, and we are going strong, very aggressive. The products that we are having basically are domestic sales bill factoring, purchase bill factoring, export sales bill factoring, short-term corporate loans, and advance against future receivables. So as and when I progress through the slides, I can give you the details of the products. So let me go through the first slide. The MSME sector, once again, I would like to welcome everyone in the MSME sector in the audience. It is the backbone of the industry. We all know it is the wheel. If it doesn't work, the entire country or the entire economy comes to a standstill. So the 45% of the total industrial output, it's probably even more than that now, is attributed to the MSME sector in India, and it accounts for almost 23% of the GDP of India. 40% of total exports, 40% of total exports are from the MSME sector, which is really incredible because we are exporting to some of the largest buyers and importers all across the globe. Companies like Toyota Motors, even Mitsubishi and General Motors. They are all lots and lots of suppliers in India who are exporting, and they all are MSMEs. Let me tell you, exporting high quality products to these huge companies globally. So it's a matter of pride for all of us, and I think all of us MSME service providers and manufacturers, we should really be happy about it. And we should, barring this this pandemic which has taken over for the last 6 months, and of course there were declining exports in the last 1 year. I think next 2 to 3 months, I once again foresee going to be a big growth in factoring and export factoring. But let's wait and watch. Next, almost 50 million people are employed countrywide. I think if you see the startups, it will be almost 100 million, if I'm not mistaken, Gupta ji. Probably you will be knowing better. And 8,000 products and more. And bank lending accounts for approximately 60% of the portfolio for MSME lending. And one thing which is really, which makes us all happy to note is that the SME growth rate has continued to be maintained in the vicinity of 10% over the past few years. At times it has gone to 12%, 13% also, much more than even the country's overall growth. So that's what is really challenging, which shows what is the significance of the industry. But now, what are the challenges we are facing? MSME industry has a few challenges, especially in raising working capital. The first and foremost is timely access to fund, which we all aware are. The shortage of working capital, which is the backbone once again. Without working capital, you can't buy raw material, you can't pay salaries on time, and all those small little things which matter a lot. And the entire production comes to a standstill, or your services come to a standstill. And of course, last but not least, the sensitivity to macro and microeconomic factors, which of course is a challenge for bigger players also, but it affects the MSMEs more, definitely. Now, I'll talk about the working capital finance, the product that we are offering, factoring. What is the importance of working capital? As we all know, working capital is the lifeline of any SME or MSME. Efficient management of working capital is imperative for growth. Because unless and until you have the short-term working capital, you cannot grow. You get stuck. If you want to do your advertisement or buy some more raw materials, you want to run 3 shifts, you get more orders in hand. But if you don't have money, how will you execute the orders? How will you, how will you pay your laborers? So it's a problem. And the banks, they will not give you money easily unless and until you have collaterals. So you have this payments which get stuck up in receivables, and that's how you get this crisis. And you'll see my last bullet point, working capital gets locked up in receivables and payables impacting cash flows. This is a very important point, and I hope every one of you in the audience would appreciate this point, and will at the moment we will be, this will be extremely significant and disturbing fact, more so because of the pandemic. Already you must be having a lot of payments which are stuck up with, even big companies and corporates are unable to pay at the moment. So this has led to a lot of problems. So that's how the factoring comes into the picture, and how it helps. We'll go and explain the next slides. The traditional sources of working capital funds continue to be shareholder funds, overdraft financing, and cash credit, equity finance, and leasing. All my friends here in the MSME industry, you will all agree with me when you see my next slide. I think the challenges which are there in raising working capital finance, I would say in my slide, number one will be the one which is at the bottom somehow. I feel availability of collateral. Once you have some working capital, you have obtained some lines from banks, and you want to enhance your limits when you're in the growth phase or you're in your nascent stage. Insufficient fixed assets to pledge or unlisted shares for raising debts, it's not sufficient. How will you raise capital? How will you increase your business? So availability of collateral is one of the biggest bottleneck for MSMEs, which I'm sure you all will appreciate. Number two, I would think, is the performance history. When you go to a bank, with due respect to all the banks, and of course, when you go and ask for an enhancement in limit, they will say they want a 3-year or 5-year credit history, ledgers of 5 years or 3 years, and then they also want collaterals. So there is the problem. How will the company which has just been set up for 1 year or 6 months or 2 years, how will you analyze a 3 years relationship between them and the supplier and the debtors? That becomes another issue for the MSME suppliers. Of course, debt service track record and market information. There is insufficient information in public domain. All the MSMEs most of them are unrated, or even if they are rated by SMERA, they are not as much as recognized by various rating agencies. So therefore, when you go to a bank and they ask for a rating, there is no rating available. So these are the challenges which are being faced by the MSME industry. And let me tell you, most of you may be aware, some of whom you are not aware, that factoring comes as one of the saviors in this, for everybody in the MSME industry. We have got almost, I've been working with this company for more than 20 years now, maybe 25 years, and more than 300 clients, out of which I'm happy to announce that more than 25 to 30 clients are with us for more than 20 years, sir. Please appreciate this. And those of them who are having 20 years back a turnover of 50 lakhs, today, even if they have reached 100 crores, they are not leaving us. So that makes, it speaks not only about the company, not only about IFCA factors, but it speaks volumes about the product. It is just a product where you fill it, shut it, and forget it, Because once you start the business, it's an ongoing, continuous process. You want to add new debtors, you want to enhance your limits, you keep on growing and your limits are enhanced, and absolutely collateral free. Please, my dear friends, please note, appreciate that. No collaterals, negligible collaterals. 1 out of 10 cases we ask for collaterals. 90% of the cases there are no collaterals, and the 10% also where we are asking for collaterals, it is of course only the cases which are absolutely 6 months or 1 year old companies, where we also have to have some sort of a security. So I'm not praising IFCI factors, but I'm praising factoring as a product. It's a beautiful scientific product where the most important thing, sir, is the strength of this transaction between the client and the debtor. Please note, when you can establish that the transaction is strong, you have got a record, good ledgers, dilution levels are less, payments are coming on time, all those things matter a lot. And now for the newcomers in the audience, I would like to define what is factoring. Those of you who are not aware of what is factoring. Factoring basically provides funds based on the strength of the debtor and the strength of the transaction between the client and its debtor, rather than on the financials of the borrower or basically the MSME borrowers, or the collateral. So this is the beauty of our product, factoring. We do not emphasize on the collaterals, number one. We do not pay much, of course, we do look at the financials of the borrower, but the more important thing is the strength of the transaction between the client and the debtor and the debtor's financials. If it's a big MNC or it's a government, Maharatna or a Mini Ratna or a Navratna, it's very easy to give a limit to the borrower for 2 crores, 5 crores, 10 crores, as the requirement may be. So when we have a strong debtor and a good track record, where the dilutions are less, payments are coming on time, it becomes a win-win situation for both of us, for the borrower, for us, and as well as for the debtors, most of the cases. So I hope this point has to be emphasized here once again, that factoring, once again, I would like to reiterate, it is not going to look at the financials of the borrower as much as it will look at the debtor's strength, whereas debtors who are big MNCs or big corporate houses with strong A-rated debtors and MNCs, or even the strong Maharatnas, Mini Ratnas and Navratnas, or good government bodies, we have got lots and lots of them as borrowers, as debtors, and we are doing very well. Now, what are the advantages of factoring? First and foremost, on the day you submit the invoice, on the same day, once we have established your credit limits, please note, the day you submit the invoice to us, on the same day, 80 to 90% of the invoice value is transferred to your bank account. That's the beauty. So you get instant cash for your receivables, which are due after 90 days or 60 days or 45 days, whatever be the tenor. But you get the cash or your payments in the designated account on the day one. Up to 90% of the total invoice value can be, factored. It's normal, the value is 80%, but on case-to-case basis, we can go up to 90% also. As I already emphasized, there is no security required, no collateral required. If at all required, it's very minimal. The credit terms are very competitive, and the appraisal and sanction is a bit time consuming, but I would still say that we try and finish off the entire process in a month, 1 month time, 30 working days. But as recently our MD sir just was emphasizing that we are in the process of launching a new product, which will be more like a non-recourse factoring, where we will be doing a ticket size from 50 lakhs to 2 crores, not 5 crore or 10 crores, where we will like to disburse the amount within 10 working days. So that product is already in the pipeline and will also be launched to cater to the MSME and give a faster turnaround, so as to give better service and faster turnaround to the industry. I hope this slide is self-explanatory. I hope it's clear to everyone. What happens is that the customer gives the invoice to the buyer, and a copy of that invoice is given to the factor. This all happens once the client has been set up as a client in our system. Thereafter, the client makes the payment to us, and we deduct the 80%. We give 80% prepayment to the client. On the due date, the debtor makes 100% payment to us, whether it is 45 days or 60 days. And on the due date, I go to the next slide, as you will see, we make the balance 20% payment to our client or the MSME borrower, from which we deduct the factoring charges and discount charges or the service charges. Automatically, it is all system driven. It's all driven by technology, which is state-of-the-art, world-class technology is running at the back end, supported by Convergys India. And last but not least, the month-end reports are generated every month. So all day and month-end, the entire MIS is given to all the clients for them to be able to sit comfortably. They don't have to go and do any, they don't have to hire chartered accountants to do any accounting. All accounting is also, and system, the sales ledger administration is also maintained by the factoring company in this case. So this makes life easier for all the MSME borrowers. You get funding on day one. You get your cash. The sales ledger administration is done by the factoring company. The limits are set up. If you want to add new, enhance your limits, get new debtors, you just have to apply to us, And on the basis of the relationship, once we start a relationship, it starts, as I told you, it can be 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. Many of our clients are like that. It's a very personalized service. Of course, there is last 2 months, we were doing a lot of virtual work. I take this opportunity just to give a little bit of a background with the permission of all the members here. We were in a very big crisis from March 25, you are aware, and most of our MSME clients, they were badly stuck up because the payments were not coming in from the buyers, or when they were coming, we could not reach our office. But still, our company, our team could make arrangements to make payments to these MSME borrowers on just in time, so that they could make payments to their 2,000, 2,500 employees and ensure that their livelihood continues, as was emphasized by our Honorable Prime Minister. So we ensured that all our clients got payment in time, even though we were not allowed to reach home. We worked from home, and thank God that we were able to cater to that. So this speaks volumes about the factoring as a product, about the technology that we have in the back end. The technology we could arrange, make working from home within a week's time, and then we could satisfy all the MSME clients that who were in badly in need of money. Just in time, they could get the money, they could pay salaries, they could settle all their bills, and they are even more happier. We've got bombardment of appreciation mails. It may not be an appropriate time, but this is just to emphasize how this product helps, even going out of the way in a personalized manner to help all the MSME clients who are associated with IFCF factors, whether they are new clients or old clients. But it becomes our duty to cater to them, even in the most difficult times which are prevailing today globally. Let me go to the next slide, please. Why do you need factoring? As I just told you, it's very easy and fast access to working capital for MSMEs. It's much faster than in a bank. You go to a bank, spend 2 or 3 months, once again with due respect, and at times you come back and nothing happens. But here we are, we'll tell you in 10 days time whether we can do this product or not. And if we can do it, we'll do it in 30 days time, 30 working days. It could be 45 days at times. Second advantage is up to 90% of the total invoice value can be funded on day one, once again, whether it's domestic or export. And last but not least, which will bring cheer to the faces of everyone in the audience today, no collateral is required. You don't require any security. The only security that you require is if you have a good debtor, if you have a good relationship with the debtor, even if for 6 months or 1 year, and if you have a good CIBIL score, you are online. And with the new product which Mr. Bikash Roy just explained, once that is launched, we can be online in 10 days. So that makes all the MSMEs happy, I'm sure. And who benefits out of factoring? Worldwide, it's a worldwide phenomena, let me tell you. It is the MSMEs and the SMEs worldwide who benefit from factoring, because the same concept applies everywhere. Factoring is basically to enable short-term working capital wherever the cash is stuck for 90 days, 60 days with big buyers and big debtors worldwide, and the same is the case in India. It is more important for the MSMEs which are in the nascent stage or in the growth phase. Let me tell you a small incident, if time permits, just 1 minute. Earlier, we were doing only cases where we were having at least 2 to 3 years of history of the client. But very recently, I'm pleased to announce that we have done cases of clients, we have given sanctions, and we are doing business with 2 or 3 clients with whom we only had who were basically startups. With just 6 months of history, credit history, we could go and drawing on the strength of the debtor. Some of the largest AAA rated debtors. So we looked at that and we sanctioned the case. And today, even in this moratorium period, where payments are stuck up from all the other, they're getting delayed. For this particular client who's a startup, the payments are coming in time because the product is so scientifically designed that if you do your due diligence nicely, if you study the transaction and the debtor strength, then it's not going to fail. It's going to work miracles, which is it doing now. So just wanted to emphasize and include this anecdote in my presentation. So it is good for the startups as well. Startups who are dealing with big buyers, government agencies, please approach us and we'll be happy to help you. Because we have started doing small ticket sizes, 25 lakhs, 50 lakhs, 1 crore. Of course, we go up to 10 crores, but right now I'm talking about even small ticket sizes of small SMEs or startups. Mr. Roy told you that brief about IFCI factors. I would like to reiterate once again, and I'm being a bit repetitive, but we are a wholly owned subsidiary of IFCI Limited, which is a Government of India undertaking. IFCI was the first development financial institute of the country, set up way back in 1948. They have great pedigree. They have done lots and lots of projects. Everyone knows about IFCI. So we have full support from IFCI. IFCI Factors has deep understanding of MSMEs and the SME market almost in the last 25 years. We are also the pioneers of factoring, export factoring in India. I would like to correct, not factoring, but export factoring. So we are the first company in India to start export factoring. And we are also the first company in India to be the member of Factors Chain International, FCI, headquartered at Amsterdam, which is the body through which almost 400 companies in 100 countries are associated, which provides a platform to do two-way factoring, import and export factoring. I will give you more details in my next slide, which is on export factoring. When we discuss about that, I'll talk about FCI, Factors Chain International. But we are proud that we are the longest serving partner of FCI in the country. Way back in 1996, we started. Okay. So here's a list of industries that we cover. Almost all industries: automotive, IT, metal and steel, engineering, pharmaceuticals, textile, real estate, chemicals, infrastructure, electrical power, hospitality, and services. When I say services, I would like to emphasize services is a very important chunk of our portfolio today. Services would include even security services, companies who are giving security guards to big companies. Services like housekeeping services, services like even salary services. So all those industries which are giving services to various big buyers are today in our portfolio, and the payments today are coming on time, even in this pandemic situation, because everybody needs security, everybody needs housekeeping. So it's a beautiful product, no delays, absolutely. Education, logistics, and any other service which can be taken care of. In this last slide, I would like to give the website of the company, our address. If anyone wants to approach, they can approach Mr. Gupta or Mr. Rastogi or Mr. Bisht. Phone numbers. So this slide may be shared by Mr. Gupta with the.
Sure. थैंक यू अमित जी, बहुत अच्छा आपने बताया फैक्टरिंग के बारे में और इतनी अच्छी नॉलेज आपने दी सर. यू हैव सच ए लार्ज एक्सपीरियंस इन फैक्टरिंग, स्पेशली इन डोमेस्टिक एंड एक्सपोर्ट फैक्टरिंग बेसिकली सर. और हमारे मेंबर्स को मैं चाहता हूं कि ज्यादा से ज्यादा इस फैक्टरिंग का लाभ उठाएं बेसिकली सर. और थैंक यू लॉट, थैंक्स अ लॉट फॉर.
Thank you very much everyone. I have another slide on export factoring, but I think I have run out of time.
Yes sir.
We can take it up next time when anybody...
Sure. सो रस्तोगी जी से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि Q&A सेशन की तरफ आगे बढ़े हम लोग, और संदीप मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि इस Q&A सेशन शुरू कर सकते हैं.
इससे रिलेटेड एक क्वेश्चन मैं इसमें देख रहा था कि अगर कोई कॉर्पोरेट एमएसएमई तो रजिस्टर करना चाहता है, लेकिन अगर कॉर्पोरेट नहीं कर रहा है, तब वो क्या करे?
Trade related question, right?
This is a question related to trade. So the screen is coming up. It is coming one by one.
Yeah, so it's optional. It's optional for the corporate to decide, because he can be registered, but still he cannot do the transaction also. It's optional up to him. So basically, the government is looking at what can be done. But as of now, corporate नहीं करना चाहता तो नहीं करना चाहता. Simple.
एक RXL में एक है क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं एक पार्टिसिपेंट की, is it possible to get the list of PSUs and corporate registered with RXL?
Normally we don't share that list because we have issues over there. So what we tell the MSMEs also, that if they can give us a list of their corporates to whom they are supplying or to whom they intend to supply, we can check it out and come back to them whether you can, whether you need to do that.
Okay.
Whether that particular corporate is registered with us or not.
सो पार्टिसिपेंट्स यहाँ पर हमारे पास लिस्ट में मिलना डिफिकल्ट है कि कौन कौन रजिस्टर्ड है, लेकिन अगर आप जब भी किसी को सप्लाई कर रहे हो तो अगर आप RXL को अप्रोच कर लेंगे तो वो आपको बता देंगे कि ये रजिस्टर्ड है कि नहीं। सो इस तरीके से आप उसको वर्कआउट कर सकते हैं। सर एक क्वेश्चन इसमें है कि when should we upload our invoice? Immediately after dispatch from the factory or after the material is received at the customer site?
See, let us understand one thing, that this, this factoring and the trades is all completely dependent on the buyer. Right? So the buyer will tell them. So there are certain cases, or most of the cases, what happens is the buyer will wait for the GRN also to be there. So in fact, when the invoices get uploaded, the buyer also wants the GRN number also, the GRN also. So then only they can allow, they can go and give the acceptance. So ideal scenario is that, whenever the transactions happen, there is basically a concurrence between the buyer as well as the seller. It is not that, you make you get registered on the platform and the buyer gets registered, and then you think that, next day onwards you can start transacting. Buyer to seller link create hota hai, acceptance hota hai dono ka, कि buyer accept करता है link और seller भी accept करता है, and after that then the transaction will start. And then when the transaction wants to get started, the buyer normally tells the seller when it has to be uploaded.
Okay. So यहाँ पर इससे फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा है कि आपने माल कब भेजा, कब उसने रिसीव किया। बेसिकली यहाँ पर जो रिसीवर है गुड्स का, आपका जो कस्टमर है, वो बताएगा कि कब आपको इसको, कब वो एक्सेप्ट कर रहा है, आप उसके हिसाब से अपलोड कर सकते हैं। सर यहाँ पे एक क्वेश्चन है, वी हैव पार्टिसिपेंट्स फ्रॉम कंस्ट्रक्शन इक्विपमेंट कंपनीज आल्सो। सो वहां से एक क्वेश्चन आ रहा है, व्हिच इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर कंस्ट्रक्शन कंपनीज आर कवर्ड विद ट्रेड एंड IFCI? प्लीज लेट अस नो एज वी रियली आर कंसर्न्ड along long pending dues of construction equipment rental fatality. So sir, वो construction equipment rental fatality है, वो जानना चाह रहे हैं कि कौन सी कंपनीज हैं जो आपके प्लेटफॉर्म पे रजिस्टर्ड हैं, so that they can take benefit of it.
If they tell us the list of the companies, then we can come back and tell you that whether they are registered with us or not.
Okay.
As of now, very less construction companies are registered with us.
Okay. So आप अपनी लिस्ट जो सेरा है, जो इसकी एपेक्स बॉडी है, वो RXL को अप्रोच करके लिस्ट दे सकती है और मालूम कर सकती है कि उनमें से कौन से लिस्टेड हैं, कौन से नहीं है। I think that would be better for SERA members. So there is another question, what is the maximum percentage of invoice amount factoring or discounting can be done?
100%.
For factoring it is 90%.
अच्छा, for मतलब अगर 100 रुपए का बिल है तो 100 रुपए का पूरा उसका फंडिंग हो जाएगी थ्रू RXL प्लेटफॉर्म। So members, it is very excellent thing to note कि सर ने बताया कि RXL प्लेटफॉर्म के थ्रू 100% तक पॉसिबल है और फैक्टरिंग के थ्रू सर बता रहे हैं 95% तक। Am I right, sir?
But keep in mind that who's bearing the interest. If the seller is bearing the interest, then he will get the discounted amount.
Okay.
Actually, what happens for us in factoring, we release up to 90%, but as soon as the payment comes, we just adjust our commission and interest, and then the balance we return to the company.
Sir, is the invoice discounting factoring application process is online, or we have to visit physically to each transaction? How are documentation signed for making contract legally binding? Which is, somebody has put this question. So they want to know everything is online, or whether at some process they have to go to the office to sign certain documents, or how they do.
No. So as far as we are concerned, let me just explain that now we're keeping in mind that the disruption, we have gone completely digital. Prior to that, we used to have the documents being signed across in originals and being couriered across to now. But right now, what we are doing is we are getting the documents signed digitally, and we are also getting the video KYC implemented. So then at that no point of time, we want the customers to travel, the MSMEs to travel and get the documents. Earlier also, they used to courier it across to us. They would just scan the documents to us. We would check it out, and once we have received the originals, we would go ahead and register them. So there is no way they have to travel to us or give the documents to us. It's completely online and digital.
Oh, sir, in case of factors,
it is a little different in the sense that in trades actually you are it's a non-recourse kind of thing, and it's a particular invoice which is floated by this data on the platform that is subscribed. But factoring is a long-term relationship with a particular client. So what happens, we really after go for documents and all, they don't have to visit to us. I mean, docs to be submitted by them for their company and their background and other things are processing by us. They don't have to visit to us. But when it comes to documentation, like it's a long-term agreement. So it goes, as I told earlier also, it goes up to years, 8 years, 10 years, like that. So some agreement like personal guarantee kind of thing, some loan agreement, all these things. So for that, they have to visit physically. And that is once only.
So there is a question people are, one of participant has put that what happens that after factoring sales goods are returned.
It's a question for trades or it's a question for IFCI?
So it is for IFCI because the question they have written is for factoring.
That is a good question actually. We have not faced much of this thing, but sometimes it has happened also. So what happens in that case, that client, my borrower, has to give a further billing, and that particular invoice, earlier invoice, to be replaced by the new invoice, because he will have continuous business with his debtor basically. So there will be multiple debtors also. Maybe a particular client of our particular borrower may have one side Maruti, another side Hero Honda, another side some other client like that. So he'll be having billing with various parties. So one particular client's material is defective, he can give another party's invoice. So that way.
So there's another whether this factoring can be done for the bills of a urban local body.
Urban local bodies, yes, we are doing, but we see the track record. We have certain checks and balances, like we have a field audit where we check their credit history, basically their check bounces history and their payment track record with the urban bodies and all. So based on that, we go ahead also. In fact, we have done with many discoms. Short-term kind of arrangement and all. Recently, we have done even normal discom also. Like one company, they do billing for discoms. So for them also, we have factored their invoices.
So for IFCI, whether any IT, if somebody has asked whether an IT company can approach you.
Yeah, always. The beauty is that it is more suitable for service related companies. Okay. We have lot of manpower service provider companies. Even we have canteen service provider companies also. So they were basically, these companies supplies food to maybe Hyundai or something like that, and those bills are sent to us. We discount it.
So is it, I mean, somebody is asking, it is correct that PSUs have agreed to bear the cost of factoring? Is it so? I mean, when it's a PSU invoice, they would bear the cost of factoring or something like this?
No, nothing like that.
No. I think somebody would have heard that one of the participants would have got clues so somewhere, so they are asking this.
Nothing like that.
Somebody is asking, can we use TREDS for legal, profession and technical services? I think technical services would definitely, but legal services, I don't know to what extent on TREDS it can be.
See, on the TREDS platform, the manufacturing as well as services can be used. Just keep it in mind that the buyer on the other side, the financiers need to take a credit risk on them. So the financier, if the buyer on the other side is a party where the financiers are ready to take a risk, yes, even services can be allowed. So even legal services fall into the criteria of services itself.
Either on TREDS or in factoring IFCI, whether there is any minimum amount that at least your bill should be this much, then only you should come to us or something like this?
I don't know about TREDS. I think TREDS I think any amount can be.
Yeah, on TREDS we can allow any amount, but what happens is normally there is some processing charge also. 100 rupees of what happens sometimes we get bills of 500 rupees or 300 rupees and 400 rupees. So it doesn't make any sense because the bank on the other side has to process that particular bill. So the banks don't normally touch those bills. So normally they prefer anything above 50,000 or something like that.
So, sir, what about with the IFCI, sir? What is the minimum amount they should?
For IFCI, we generally prefer 1 crore and above. But as I told, we are probably going to introduce a new product where it will be more resembling to non-recourse funding.
Sir, somebody has asked another interesting question. Can an arbitral amount be factored?
Arbitral amount, see,
Maybe somebody has got an arbitration award, so you want
to look at from the other perspective that our bandwidth also.
Yeah.
So anything, any 10 lakh, 5 lakh, it's very, very difficult. But we are trying to introduce this product in a different way altogether. So that's what I told, that new product will be like this. I mean, minimum due diligence on the borrower. It will be mainly the due diligence on the debtor. And any bill, once the mechanism is in place, that is that escrow arrangement or something anyway, that is given by data. It's more of data side. If they help, then this product can be taken forward, and within 5 to 10 days, they will be getting the money.
So Sandeep, you can tell us how much time is with us, because we have a huge number of questions here coming up.
Yeah, Rastogi ji and Sunil Gupta ji and Mr. Roy, I'll have to leave because anyways I have my Ruchi Agarwal. She'll take the questions, whatever questions if they are there. I need to leave because I need to jump on to another call.
थैंक यू गायकवाड़ जी. मैं एक चीज शेयर करना चाहूंगा सर आपसे. एक्चुअली मनोज मित्तल जी से मेरी डिस्कशन हुई थी कुछ दिनों पहले, तो ही गेव मी योर रेफरेंस बेसिकली सर कि यू टॉक टू गायकवाड़ जी, ही विल एक्सप्लेन ऑल अबाउट द ट्रेड्स एंड ऑल काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स. सो मैंने मैडम रुचि जी से बात किया बेसिकली. रुचि जी हेल्प अस इन अ लॉट एंड कनेक्टेड टू यू सर. थैंक यू सर. थैंक्स अ लॉट फॉर शेयरिंग.
I hope all the queries we have been able to answer, and if any queries which are remaining,
absolutely,
Ruchi will be there. Sandeep, what we can do, we can collate the queries and forward it to both the esteemed panelists. Sure. And whatever response is there, we can give to our members. And we have done many of the questions. I think so. We can conclude our session with the thanks to both the panelists. I think so.
In fact, some of the queries online itself I have answered. Yeah. Most of the queries online itself I have answered. Whatever is remaining, you can send it across to me. We'll answer it.
Yes,
yes. और मैं विकास जी का भी थैंक यू करना चाहूंगा सर. थैंक्स अ लॉट फॉर जॉइनिंग अस सर एंड शेयर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स अबाउट द फैक्टरिंग.
You have got in-depth this thing of trades.
So I think sir, today all our participants and me as a legal professional also, we are very much enlightened about trades and factoring. We have been doing some factoring arbitration and litigation, that's a different thing, but how the process works, what are the nitty-gritty, and what are, as from a business perspective, we all are very much enlightened. A very thank you and very warm thank you to all our panelists.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And for the participants who are not, whose answer are not responded, kindly mail us to the given email ID info@indianstartupchamber.com so that we can collate and send it to the speakers, and then we can respond to that. According to that. And as far as some queries is there, the slides, the presentation which is related to RXL and IFCI factory is concerned, we'll upload it in the website of Chamber, and you can download it from there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks to all of you.